Bring the lights down low, it's time to show. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock, some movies shock, they're powerful, alright. We cover them all on your favorite parts. So many movies we can choose, even when you win, you lose. Life moves pretty fast, some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math, it's the 30-something movie podcast. Be excellent to each other, please add a word to your mother. They're from the best decades, movie magic that never fades. Lightsabers clash, phasers set to stun, action packed from dusk till dawn. We have deep thoughts and questions free, come share our love of the movies we see. Life moves pretty fast, some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math, it's the 30-something movie podcast.
It is the 30-something movie podcast. I am one of your hosts, John Reed, here with my cadre of fellow monkey men, because it is June. That exactly. Thank you, Dr. Bo Zayas.
I just
Dr.
love the
Bozeas, Dr.
whole-
Bozeas.
I just love the whole cadre of monkey men. I like where this is going. I like the direction.
I think it's if we had a band name, I feel like that would be a halfway decent band name for us.
Indeed.
A cadre of monkey men. Yeah. I don't
I got a
know.
lot, man, but yeah, cadre of monkey men is gonna.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So, Bo, how are things going?
So far, so good. It's a Wednesday night in the middle of the summer. Things are hot, but the house is cool,
There
and
you go.
it's all you can ask for.
There you go. Patrick, how are you?
We're doing good. Middle of summer, all the good things in life.
You said
Our
before
air
we started
conditioning-
recording that you got to ride horses tonight?
Yes. So I'm in a good mood. I did get to ride horses tonight,
Excellent.
and God bless it, it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun.
Excellent. I mentioned before we started recording that I'm probably in a good mood because tomorrow's my last day at work.
John, we are so excited for you.
So I am, yeah. It's one of those cases where never again, well, not in this situation at least, will I ever have to say, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back
They
in.
pulled me back in.
Yep, nope, I'm out.
Yep.
So yes.
Yep.
So I am excited for that. Not that anybody, including myself, is counting, but yeah. So there's that. Pat, what a knowing laugh you have.
Yeah, that's, for those in the know
Mm-hmm.
are in the know.
Yep.
But
Yep.
John, that is, in all seriousness, very excited, and good luck with the new
Yes.
chapter in the life.
It is very exciting. Thank you. But
It's
we're not here.
extraordinary.
It's
What would you like to do
What would
next?
you like to do next? Well, I'll tell you in mid-August is what I'd like to do next. So we are at the very, very end of Monkey Business Month. We have
Monkey
had,
Business Month.
we've had some fun movies this time around. We started the month off with Jumanji, then we had 12 Monkeys. Last week was Outbreak, and we're going to finish it off this week with Congo. And then next month we get things take a slightly darker turn. Next month is we are in Vengeance Month. And Vengeance Month is going to consist of 7, because why not start your Vengeance Month off with 7?
Ah,
You know,
He asks me.
so we go
That's where I was
7.
going.
Actually, you know what? We got a couple of, I guess, maybe spoiler alert. We got a couple of weeks of Kevin Spacey, because we start with 7, and then the next week is The
Right.
Usual Suspects.
Then he was recently featured in Outbreak.
It was Outbreak. So if I had timed it right, if we ended this month with Outbreak, it would have been Outbreak 7, Usual Suspects. We could have just done a Kevin Spacey month.
when
Mhm.
is Usual Suspects?
Next week?
That is, yeah, that's
2 weeks?
2 weeks from now.
Oh my
Yeah.
good Lord, that snuck up on me.
Yeah.
What a great movie that is.
Yeah.
That's one of those movies, kind of like this, kind of like 7, and kind of like, I guess 7 is what I'll use,
Mhm.
where once you've seen them once and you know the twist, you can watch it again and be like,
Mhm.
oh, that's
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
love the movie. That's good stuff.
Appreciate the little hints they had that you didn't see the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
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 So let's see. For the rest of July, so we start with 7, then we got Usual Suspects, then The Quick and the Dead, and then our 10th anniversary rewatch is Lethal Weapon 3.
Oh boy,
And then we've got Desperado, and then Die Hard with a Vengeance.
we got a lot of westerns.
We do. We actually have several westerns. We got 2 westerns in that particular month. So, yeah, that'll be a good time. And then
Yeah, okay, maybe it's a little rich to say a lot of westerns. But
well, I mean,
we have a couple of westerns.
wait, would you say we have a plethora?
You keep using that word, but I don't think it means what you know. I'm mixing my movie quotes.
That's fine.
I'm sorry.
You're in good company to mix movie quotes. That's totally fine. I would just hate to think that somebody told me we had a plethora of Western movies if they didn't know what a plethora was. So
It's true. You must know what a plethora is to
I'm just saying.
claim plethora.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, name it and claim it.
Dominic, speaking of movie quotes, Dominic went to a friend's house the other night to watch some movies.
Yes.
They're doing a movie thing.
Yeah.
Airplane and Spaceballs.
Buddy.
That's a
I'm like,
that's a great
and
double
of course,
feature.
like, it's a great. And then Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was on deck, and they ran out of time.
Okay.
Oh, that is. As a father, you should be impressed.
I am so proud. Now
that's a night where
I bring that up,
that's a night where you don't care if they come back home by curfew.
yeah, exactly, because he's watching it and he's just like, man, airplane, and then he brings up Spaceballs, and I basically just start shooting through every single the dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden the look on his face is one of bemusement, and then horror, and then recognition. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that was awesome. When he says, yeah, we're going to be watching Spaceballs and Airplane. Naked Gun just has to be like the next one.
Yeah. Random little factoid here. Did you know, at least I think I've heard, that Tim Russ is going to come back for Spaceballs 2?
Nice.
Really?
We ain't found.
Yeah. Yes.
That's awesome.
You don't think we're taking this too literally, do you? No, you idiot. We were told to comb the desert. We're combing the desert.
Oh my God.
Well, we're definitely, whenever
Lost the beeps.
Spaceballs 2
Lost
comes
the
out,
beeps.
we're definitely doing that one on the podcast.
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. I am so excited. And so I'm just going to say, last week or one of the weeks I said, hey, have we seen the trailer? Have you guys seen the teaser for it?
Yeah.
And everyone jumped into, well, we're not going to watch the teaser because that's going to ruin everything and da-da-da.
Oh, I already watched
Have
it.
you guys seen? Yeah, I feel like the way this one is crafted, it doesn't hint at anything other than Mel Brooks is winding up for heavy duty satire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways, I am just
The teaser for Spaceballs 2 doesn't give anything away,
right.
other than this movie will be a parody of Star Wars,
Yes.
which, yes, have some.
Oh my gosh.
Indeed.
All right. Well, we are here to talk Congo. So before we do that, very, very quickly, we spoil freely. So if you hear us start to talk about a movie and you don't want to hear it, just hit that little skippity skip button there, maybe once or twice, and then we should have gotten it out of our system. If you have not yet, please visit our website, 30podcast.com. You can leave us a rating, a voicemail. You can become a co-executive producer via Patreon. The more and more people who become co-executive producers over there and support the podcast financially each month means that we can all quit our jobs and become full-time podcasters,
Oh.
Sweet.
which
Oh.
I think would be awesome.
Yeah.
Certainly better than the alternative right now. I'll
can
tell
be-
you
well,
that.
That's
God,
true.
yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine the stuff we
Yeah.
would have the freedom and the time to come up with and to do if this was our full-time job?
Oh,
Oh.
yes.
It would be.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Mm-hmm. It would be. I was listening to something earlier today, and it had an interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger on it, and all he kept saying was, "It was fantastic. It was just fantastic." And anytime I think of that, just become a full-time podcaster. It would be fantastic.
Nothing but a good time.
There you go. See. So anyway, you can head over there to 30podcast.com and check all that stuff out. Congo came out on June 9th, 1995, rated PG-13, runtime of 108 minutes. That would be 1 hour and 48 minutes if you tell time using the metric system. Directed by Frank Marshall, who did Arachnophobia and Alive. Writers were John Patrick Shanley, who did Moonstruck and Joe versus the Volcano. And then Michael Crichton did the novel. He also did The Andromeda Strain and Jurassic Park. Producers were Kathleen Kennedy, who did Jurassic Park and E.T., and Sam Mercer, who did The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable. Composer is Jerry Goldsmith, who did Star Trek The Motion Picture and Basic Instinct. Cinematographer was Alan Davio, who did E.T., The Extraterrestrial, and The Color Purple. Editor was Ann V. Coates, who did Lawrence of Arabia and Out of Sight. Production company was the Kennedy Marshall Company and Paramount. Budget was $50 million. Box office was $152 million. Flickmetrics gives it a 45%, a little low on the Flickmetrics. Cinema Score gives it a B. But I will tell you, as someone who left the theater after seeing this in the theater, I'm not even sure I would have given it a B. You know, I was, what was I at the time? I was 14. I was a 14. The year was 1995. I was a 14 and a half year old who, because of circumstances that summer, we were living briefly for just a few weeks in downtown Chicago and was old enough and cosmopolitan enough to be given free reign of the city as a 14-year-old. And there was one particular day that I was down around Water Tower Place and they had the theater inside. And I was like, I'll go see a movie. And I think the only thing on that I might not have seen at that point was Congo. So I'm like, I like monkeys and lasers. I've seen the preview. Why not put them together? And then I went to go see the movie. And even at age 14, I think I walked out of the theater going, oh, that's why you don't put them together. So not to bury the lead or anything, but that was my thought at age 14. I'm not a whole lot sure things have changed much. But we'll talk about it. Laura Linney played Karen Ross. She was in Truman Show and Mystic River. Dylan Walsh played Peter Elliott. He was in Nurse Betty and Superman and Lois. That was kind of a fun one to see because I love that show, Superman and Lois, and he plays General Sam Lane, Lois Lane's dad, in that TV show. And as I was watching Superman and Lois, I'm like, I know this guy from somewhere. I know Dylan Walsh from somewhere. What other movie have I've seen him in a movie somewhere. And then this movie comes on, and he's a lot younger, and he's got a lot more hair. And I'm like, that is where I've seen General Gramps from before. He was.
And what is he? Is he the monkey guy in this?
He is. Yes, you could call him the monkey guy. Sure.
Yeah,
The one that has
Dylan.
the one that has the talking monkey.
Yes.
Do you want to pet my monkey?
That's General Gramps.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Dylan Walsh.
Do you want to touch my monkey?
Yeah, but it kind of blew my mind a little bit when I saw him in this movie, and I wasn't expecting it. I saw the name Dylan Walsh. I was like, I know who that is. And then the movie came on. I'm like, I know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little different. I mean, last time I saw him in a TV show where he was a, hardened general and in charge of the Department of Defense and Superman's father-in-law, and in this movie, he's in love with the talking monkey. Yeah. Better title for this movie might not have been Congo. Might have been Chasing Amy.
Hey now,
There it is. There it is.
ladies and gentlemen, he's here all the time.
Thank you. More so, the more people come on to Patreon. Ernie
Right.
Hudson played Monroe Kelly. He was in Ghostbusters and The Crow. And if it pays enough, he'll take you to find any monkeys you want. Tim Curry played... I've tried to several times pronounce this.
Hikmil Himolka.
Yeah, just I don't know. Throw a bunch of marshmallows in your mouth and try to say it.
I told you guys this the other day, but this character, for some reason, it is not Tim Curry's most artistic work, but this character, for some reason, this name of this character and that accent have stuck with me forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if there's one thing I remember about this movie, it's that character. And what's even funnier is I might remember that character independent of this movie, not remembering what movie it was in.
Oh, really?
But something about that name and the way he plays this guy just is seared into my memory. Like, I have used that name in fake name thing. You're trying to come up with a stupid name. I have used that name because for some reason it is burned into my frontal lobe.
For some weird reason, whenever I hear that name, I don't picture him in this movie. I picture him in Loaded Weapon in the Girl Scout uniform.
Also good.
Yeah. I don't know why I make that connection, but
Yeah, I can understand it.
yeah. So Tim Curry and I don't even know, HH.
Hickmilk.
Yeah. It's in the Rocky
Record him
Horror
saying
Picture.
that and put it in as a drop.
Yeah. It was in the Rocky Horror Picture Show and It. Grant Heslov played Richard, who ironically was in Black Sheep with another Richard.
Richard.
I wonder if that was on purpose.
You never know.
No, because this would have come first. Yeah, because Black Sheep's next year. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And he was also in Midnight Run. Joe Don Baker, who died actually this year, died in 2025, played R.B. Travis. He was in Goldeneye and The Living Daylights. John Hawkes played Bob Driscoll. He was in Winter's Bone and The Sessions. Mary Ellen Trainor passed in 2015. She was Moira. She was in Terminator 2 and License to Kill. Joe Pantoliano was Eddie Ventro. He was uncredited in this one, but he was in The Matrix and Daredevil. Bruce Campbell was in this movie for a hot minute. He was Charles Travis. He was in Evil Dead and Bubba Hotep. And I don't know if you know this or not, but Jimmy Buffett made an appearance in this movie. Jimmy Buffett,
Did not catch that.
Jimmy Buffett, who passed in 2023, was the 727 pilot.
Oh.
You know, he shows up as a pilot in a few things. He was a recurring helicopter pilot in the reboot of Hawaii Five-0.
Was he really? Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't
he
know
would
that.
show up once in a while. They played it off like he was an old Navy buddy of McGarrett's or something. And
Okay.
whenever they wanted to do an off-the-books mission, it was stupid. But but Jimmy Buffett was the guy, and it was awesome. Like, hey, that's Jimmy Buffett right there.
I got to look to see if he ever showed up in it, because one of my dad's favorite shows was Nash Bridges. And I feel like the TV show Nash Bridges would have been custom made for Jimmy Buffett to show up as a cameo.
Oh my God, Jimmy Buffett, Don Johnson, and Cheech Marin in a scene together. That's appointment television right there.
I gotta look and see. I cannot. I have a hard time believing he was never not in that show at some point, in some uncredited role somewhere.
Agreed.
He's got to have been in there somewhere. The other weird one that he showed up in that I didn't even realize, even though we've talked about this movie twice now on this podcast, apparently Jimmy Buffett had a very, very small part as one of the agents, I think, in Repo Man.
Oh.
So I saw that somewhere. I gotta go back and double check that. But apparently he was also in Repo Man.
All right, man. Good for him.
All right. A couple of quick little trivia things here. Ernie Hudson, at least when this was included on the IMDb trivia, Ernie Hudson said that playing Captain Monroe Kelly is his personal favorite role from his entire career.
Cool. Good for him.
I would have.
I mean, good for you that you have one. I
Yeah.
just don't know why it's that. But
Right. I kind of would have thought it would be Ghostbusters, but you know.
it makes you wonder if this was like a super fun movie to make because it was so goofy. They were just messing around.
Could be. Yeah.
Because I know some actors will say, no, that's not the most cinematic thing I've ever done. But man, did we have a blast.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Diamonds, this is where your buddy Herkimer gets his Herkimer.
Ikmilhamolka.
Thank you. The diamonds seen in the movie's climax were actually Herkimer diamonds. They were doubly terminated quartz crystals borrowed from the Herkimer diamond mines in New York, and so Tim Curry's character is named in tribute for these crystals.
Love it.
The attacking hippopotamus in the one scene was a 2.5-ton animatronic puppet controlled by puppeteers.
Yeah, do hippopotami attack people in that manner? I'm just.
You know, Pat, I don't tend to question the natural world.
Are they meat eaters even?
My understanding is they are quite aggressive.
Okay.
I remember my dad had a business trip to Africa one time, and I remember he came back, and that was one of the things he told us about was he said when you go out and you go off into the wild and they take you on, you know, a Jeep trip or something, the one thing that the tour guide told his group of people was you don't actually need to look out for the lions, you actually need to look out for the hippos.
Really?
Like the hippos are much more aggressive, according to this story. I haven't been
Okay.
there myself, but that hippos apparently are very, very aggressive. And I don't know if this is true, but I feel like at one point there was a little factoid that was shared that it might be that hippos kill more people in Africa per year than something like a lion, or because I think a lot of times maybe people go down to a lake or a watering hole and they don't know that the hippo is there, and the hippo will charge up out of the water and attack them. And I can't say that I've done my research on that, but I do recall that from when my dad came back and told me what he had been told when he was taken out on a tour.
Fascinating.
Was watch out for the hippos.
Watch out for hungry hippos indeed.
So,
All right.
Yeah. The Stan Winston studio created 12 genetically mutated gray gorillas and a mechanical head for Amy capable of nearly all facial expressions. And so that was something innovative that they did in this movie that had not been done quite the same way before. Originally, Congo was set to use CGI that was going to be similar to Jurassic Park for the gorillas, but the director Frank Marshall decided to opt for practical models due to some of the limitations on the computer animation at the time.
Okay.
And then Michael Crichton, I thought this one was kind of interesting. Michael Crichton initially envisioned Congo as a vehicle for Sean Connery.
Okay.
And he also
As the
insisted...
gorilla guy or as Ekmel Homolka?
No,
That's
I
interesting.
think as the gorilla guy.
Interesting.
And then Crichton insisted on, for this, actually, apparently the movie was delayed for over a decade because Crichton kept saying, if you're going to make this movie, Amy has to be a real gorilla.
Okay.
Okay. So clearly he did not get his wish. There is nary a Sean Connery nor a real gorilla in the movie.
Mm.
But there is an awkward relationship between Dylan Walsh and Amy.
A little bit.
Just a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a high-stakes jungle mission, former CIA operative Karen Ross teams with primatologist Peter Elliott, mercenary Monroe Kelly, and the treasure hunter, Bo.
Ekmel Homolka.
Thank you. I don't need to have a sound drop for it. I just need to point at Bo, and he'll say it for us.
On command.
Yeah. Together with the help of Amy the gorilla, they navigate...
Dance. Puppet dance.
Yes, dance, monkey dance.
Better. Yes.
Yeah. They navigate...
Have some.
Thank you. They navigate deadly ruins, killer gray gorillas, and volcanic peril to stop a diamond-powered laser from falling into the wrong hands. This is Congo.
Activate the remote.
In the race for the world's most advanced communications technology, a shocking discovery has been made.
What was that?
Lock your remote. Give me a thermal reading. Resolve to 6-6.
It will take two young scientists into the heart of the African jungle, where a secret hidden for 2,000 years holds the key to the future.
This is Karen Ross. 81452. Houston, do you read?
You used to work for the CIA, and now you're travel.
Some will come to it for science.
This is a big deal, Charles. This is a big find.
Some for fortune.
A diamond mine of incredible bounty.
And some to return home.
She doesn't really belong anywhere, does she?
No, she belongs here.
Together, they will search.
My boss, he thought I wasn't going to make it. He sent another expedition.
Drawn deep into a mystery.
Camp destroyed. People dead. A gray gorilla.
No such thing as a gray gorilla.
I saw one.
And the more they discover,
Same hieroglyphics over and over.
the greater the danger.
What do they say?
We are watching you.
Never saw any animal move like that.
How intelligent are they?
See, they're smart. They're too damn smart.
We're getting out of here.
What about them?
Put him on the endangered species list.
From the best-selling novel by the author of Jurassic Park.
The myth of the killer ape is true.
Congo, where you are the endangered species.
Would that trailer be any more 90s?
Oh, it's absolutely. It's as 90s as you can possibly get.
Put him on the endangered species list.
Uh-huh.
I had to restrain myself. I apologize for commenting during it, but when Winston goes, "I've never seen an animal move that fast," I wanted to say, "But you've seen a big towering marshmallow, so really, what?" I mean,
He's seen some stuff. Yeah.
it's right.
So the funny thing about that trailer is they start going into, it's a secret that's been hidden for 2,000 years, and I was like, what is this, Himir Homolka and the Holy Grail?
There it is. I'm not even doing a good impersonation of him right now.
Jesus has returned, and he's living with a group of monkeys. Like, what are we? Okay.
Well, I mean, if he was gonna return, I mean,
there's 12 of them. That's his cadre.
There you go. Oh, well done.
Well played.
And then one of the other things about this trailer that I know we're going to talk about eventually, so why not talk about it now, is the awkwardness of the accents in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my, yeah.
Especially, I mean, well, yes, Tim Curry's is some kind of special. Ernie Hudson's kind of the same way. Like, there are moments in this where he's maybe British, maybe not British. There's moments where he sounds British, moments where he sounds American. And I was reading online somewhere, I'm like, was he trying to do something in particular? And some people have argued he was trying to do the like mid-Atlantic accent that actors from the 40s used to do. And I'm like, I don't know.
I thought he was working on a version of, I thought he was trying to do like a British colonizer of Africa thing.
Right.
At one time.
Whether
that was it or not, that's what I was hearing.
Right. And then he went from British to American pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking it went well.
Right.
I think
much like the British colonies themselves. It was a metaphor for the British colonies. Like, they started British, they ended up in America. Metaphor.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's a monkey metaphor.
We're off the rails.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
okay.
That's okay.
Metaphor.
The movie is Congo. It's a monkey metaphor. It's Congo. I really don't know what else you could say about it.
Hello, kids.
Yeah.
We're having a good old time here. I hope you're having fun with us.
Hope everybody's having a great time. So before we get too far into this monkey business, let's back up just a little bit. When was the first time you saw this movie, and did you and do you enjoy it? I already told my story. So first time I saw it was in the theater in Chicago. It was, let's just say it was entertaining, but even as a 14-year-old, with the not as discerning palate as I have now, I did walk out of the theater going, wow, I might have overpaid for that ticket.
Yeah.
That's one of those movies you go see it and you're like, well, the popcorn was great.
Well, Bo, when was the first time you saw this?
So, like everything we've been talking about this year, and I'm going to say for the next year or so, a majority of this saw it at home, Blockbuster rental, HBO. I can definitely see the box, the video box at the Blockbuster shelf grabbing my attention. Okay. Talking Monkey probably grabbed someone's attention in the family. Tim Curry would have definitely grabbed some people's attention. Honestly, trading on the whole Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton of it all probably helped too. Any connection to Jurassic Park would bring anyone to this movie. I think that's why a lot of people saw it. Yeah.
All right. First time I saw it was just a couple days ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, wow.
Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. Accounting for time, because we were supposed to record this a while back. So I guess whenever we were going to originally record it, I saw it, so I guess now it was about a week and a half ago.
It's been within the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I just recently saw it. Yeah, fun movie. I mean, it definitely isn't Jurassic Park. And, I could sit here and go, okay, well, did that plot tie up at all? And where did those guys come from? Mm-hmm. And what's their backstory? And what's, but I think just fun, science-y adventure kind of thing. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to read the book. I'd really want to read the book and just see what that was like.
Yeah, I have not read the book.
And if I may, I know we normally talk about, like music, later on. The music struck me as very interesting because when it started and they're all in the jungle, they got like stereotypical jungle music, you know,
Mhm.
Bung, dum, drums and drums and drums and drums, and, you know, real quick kind of flute trills, you know, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then when they try to connect with the satellite phone, they have a picture of the satellite floating in space, and all of a sudden the music was more like what you would hear in Star Trek. You know, you get these you know, like I'm trying to remember, I should have listened before so I could have explained it exactly, but like go back to that first scene when they first show that satellite, and you get this, like, it's almost like like a woodwind kind of, it's the kind of this cascading thing or whatever that you would just hear in like a Star Trek movie. And so it's I just found that interesting that it was like stock jungle music here, stock space exploratory excitement, mystery here, you know. And so it was almost like, did they just use the temp track for this? Or, and I mean, I'm so sorry to the composer, because I'm not trying to call your music a temp track. I'm sure, you know, you worked hard on it and all that, but I just found that you were just kind of taking what almost sounded like jungle music here, space music here. And yeah, I just found that entertaining.
Yeah. I'm going to back up for just a second because I completely forgot to do our major moments. I got so caught up in all the monkey business that I
and the Hekmel Homolka
and the Hekmel Homolka of the whole thing. So let me back up just a minute. I'll do the 10 major moments for us real fast, and then we can get on into continuing with our other stuff. So 10 major moments. The film kicks off with a tech-forward jungle expedition by Travicom employees Charles Travis, or Ash Williams, as most of us know him, and Jeffrey Weems, who are searching for rare blue diamonds with the potential to power a revolutionary laser. They stumble upon the ruins of a mysterious lost city near a volcano deep in the Congo jungle, which is clearly why Jimmy Buffett was there, because anytime there's a volcano, you know Jimmy Buffett's going to be around. Even though he don't know where he's going to go. Deep in the Congo jungle, back at Travicom HQ, the CEO R.B. Travis and former CIA operative Karen Ross, who also happens to be Charles's ex-fiancée, watch in horror as the expedition's video feed shows a destroyed campsite, lifeless bodies, and a monstrous ape lunging at the camera before the transmission cuts out. With her personal connection and spy experience, Karen is tapped to lead a rescue mission. Honestly, I think I forgot that she was a CIA operative for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. You don't, you know, the extinction comment later and everything doesn't really feel very CIA, doesn't?
Yeah, no. So
there was the gunfight scene where she was supposed to be kind of like the commando type, right?
There was, yeah. It kind of like that came a little bit. I completely forgot that she was a former CIA operative. So when that came at the end of the movie, I was like, wait, where's this coming from? And then it wasn't until going back and like putting together the notes for this episode, I was like, wait a minute. She was a CIA operative? And then I went back and listened to certain parts. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess she is.
So then she was good at it because, like, they're all like covert. You don't know.
I guess so. Yes. It wasn't the storytelling. It was that she was so covert that nobody knew she was a CIA operative, not even the screenwriter. That's what I'm going with.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that's accurate.
Meanwhile, back at the Legion of Doom, primatologist Peter Elliott and his assistant Richard are working with a talking gorilla. Yes, a talking gorilla. Chasing Amy uses sign language, which is translated into spoken words via digital interface. She's been drawing unsettling images of jungles and a symbol representing the Eye of Providence. She's never even been to Rhode Island. And Peter believes it's time to return her to the wild. Their goals align with Karen's, and soon they're teaming up with a shady Romanian philanthropist, Himir Himolka, who's obsessed with
Himolka.
I know, I'm just going to say it wrong every time and have you correct me. Who's obsessed with the legend of the lost city of Zinj. Zinj. Mm-hmm.
Are these names like right out of the book?
Kills me. I love it.
I don't know. I would imagine so.
Yeah, some of it is for sure. Because I did read the book once upon a time.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Okay.
All right. The group heads to Uganda and meets up with Monroe Kelly, a no-nonsense wilderness guide who's seen it all, including giant towering marshmallow men. Homolka has a sketchy history with a failed treasure hunting safaris. After some sketchy border crossings and a sizable bribe, they continue into the jungle. But just as the journey starts, their plane is shot down. They parachute into the dense forest, signaling that this trip will be anything but ordinary. A local tribe leads the group to Bob Driscoll, one of the few surviving members of the original Travicom expedition. He is gravely injured and dies in sheer terror at the sight of Amy, hinting that the gorilla threat is far from normal. On the river, Homolka's obsession grows as he becomes convinced Amy could lead them to the legendary mine, and the tensions rise. They reach the original expedition's camp near the ruins of Zinj, and it's a massacre scene. As night falls, Richard and several porters are slaughtered by aggressive gray gorillas, fierce, territorial creatures with a mysterious connection to the city. Apparently, there's no such thing as a gray gorilla, but, I mean, aren't there...
That's the secret that was hidden for millennia.
Aren't there silverbacks, and aren't there, don't they ever get older?
One would think, but maybe they're ageless.
So what you're telling me is... what you're telling me is that all the gorillas in Africa use the hair club for men.
Yes.
The just for men hair dye. That's why we don't ever see any gray gorillas?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense now. Okay, this whole movie makes sense. I take back everything I ever said.
Everything you ever said?
Well, not everything. Most things.
Yeah, let's just be gentle.
About this movie.
Okay.
The survivors deploy automatic sentry guns, like we're in the movie Aliens, to defend the camp, establishing a perimeter while they piece together what happened. And then the gray apes show up, and it's game over, man. Game over. But the gorillas mostly come out at night. Mostly. Mm-hmm. Then at dawn, the group ventures deeper into the city ruins. Ancient hieroglyphs. How does Hekmir Homolka say hieroglyphs?
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know.
Honestly, as we've been talking through this and I've been thinking about the accent more, it might as well be Borat.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Is ancient famous hieroglyphics?
Hieroglyphs?
Hieroglyphs?
That's how Borat would have said it. Hieroglyphs.
Yeah, hieroglyphs. They tell the chilling backstory. The city's former inhabitants genetically bred the gray gorillas to protect the diamond mine, but the gorillas turned on their masters, slaughtering them, and now the same threat stalks the expedition. Because you know what those ancient people from 2,000 years ago, they didn't ask themselves whether they should.
That's right.
And as
they
we've
were
learned,
too busy wondering if they could.
Yes, as we've learned from Michael Crichton, that's his version of even when you win, you lose.
Yes,
and he'll go back to that if he needs to.
Pretty much every time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Homer Molka Simpson, driven by treasure lust, finally finds the fabled diamonds. He begins stuffing his pockets, but he doesn't get very far, and he's quickly mauled to death by the great gorillas. His ambition literally kills him, serving as a stark warning to the others. Karen, Peter, and Monroe descend into the mine and discover the bodies of Charles and Jeffrey. In a powerful moment, Charles's corpse still grips a giant blue diamond and actually comments that it might swallow her soul, but that's a different movie. Karen fits the diamond into a prototype laser and uses it to vaporize the attacking gray gorillas in a burst of sci-fi vengeance. Just then, the volcano begins to erupt. As lava floods the city, destroying everything, including killer gorillas, the group races to escape. Karen contacts Travicom and learns that Travis only cared about the diamond. Furious, she destroys the satellite connection. In the jungle, they find a hot air balloon in one of Travis's downed cargo planes, because why not? And they prepare to leave. Peter says a heartfelt goodbye to Amy, who has found her own kind and appears at peace. One comment I will make here is there is a line where he says, Amy with the silverback, so she's, and his next comment, there's a little pause, and he says home, but for like half a second, I thought the last part of that line was going to be Amy with the silverback, so she's cheating on me. I had concerns.
Understandable.
Yeah.
The balloon lifts off with Karen, Peter, and Monroe aboard in a final act of principle. Peter tosses the rare diamond into the jungle, letting go of both the danger and the greed it brought, because you should. You got to do the whole Indiana, let it go kind of a thing.
Let it go.
And then I think one of the final lines of the movie is, "There's the wind. I hope it blows us somewhere good." And my thought right after that was, it certainly does blow. Below, Amy watches her human. It's the suck cut. Amy watches her human friends disappear to the sky before turning to join her new gorilla family, symbolizing a return to balance and nature. Those are the 10 major moments. And now back to your previously scheduled deep thoughts.
And now, deep thoughts.
I have an opinion on this matter.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
I like it a lot. Wow. It's very deep. Thank you.
So, as we've kind of already said, it's pretty clear. This is one of those movies that's just kind of like, yeah, it existed. Like, they tried to adapt something, and it was trying to be very 90s. I don't know if it was trying to be 90s, but it succeeded. But it was trying to play off the success of Jurassic Park, and it felt like they were trying to put together, like, let's put together a somewhat, not necessarily an all-star cast, but let's put together, maybe some folks you've seen before in other things. And yeah, it's the same guy that did Jurassic Park, so sure, let's have monkeys and lasers, and I'm sure it'll be a hit. And not so much. It felt very disjointed. I think, Pat, the point you were trying to make about the music is like the point I would make about the entire movie. Yes. It felt like, oh, we're going to Africa. Let's have a scene where there's a hippo attack, and now there's a plane crash, and now there's something else in the jungle, and now there's, I don't know. It seemed very. Until you get to the end and there's lasers and monkeys, there was nothing super special about the movie. It just seemed very like generic kind of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Generic. That's probably the clearest thing I could say about the whole thing, is it felt very generic. And to your point, I think the music felt that way too.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. And I think, if they wanted to go deeper and, get to know the characters and have some, character development and all that kind of stuff, I think it would have been better in some regards. But it was just kind of like fun action movies. So if you're just looking for fun adventure action movie, I think it works, right? It just didn't have the same depth that like Jurassic Park would have. And so it's hard when you're comparing them to each other.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I was kind of distracted enough from watching the movie this time that I was just making my own little jokes I was Mystery Science Theater 3000ing this thing as I was watching it.
It's funny. I was thinking, and I meant to do this research beforehand, but I do wonder if any of the How Did This Get Made podcasts or Mystery Science Theater ever did this movie, because wow, it's
ripe for it. Like it's time. Yeah. It definitely could be one. Well, like when one of the monkeys gets his hand lasered off, like the first thing that pops into my head is, have you guys seen the movie The Pope of Greenwich Village?
I have not.
There's the whole scene. It's like, Charlie, they took my thumb. They took my thumb, Charlie. When he comes back and the people have kind of beaten him up and beaten up his brother and taken his thumb. And so that whole scene, like, they took my hand. They took my hand, Charlie. And then I made internally in my own head, I made some jokes about, how this could have been a Star Wars fight with monkeys because there's hands getting chopped off and, laser guns and whatnot. But yeah, it kind of, if it hasn't been given the parody treatment, then it definitely probably needs to.
Yeah, it's just a little zany. And I mean, some of the action kind of just becomes almost melodramatic, right?
And I feel weird it being a Stan Winston effects movie, because I don't know what you guys think. I don't think the gray monkeys looked very good.
No, not really.
And usually I think of, like, when I think of Stan Winston and I think of the work that he does with, monster effects and creature effects and things like that, and sticking to the practical effects, I usually think of a little bit better quality. And I don't know, just the gray apes didn't do it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's hard when you're expecting a certain level of special effects.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
So let me ask you this one. We've asked this one before with some other movies. If this movie, so let's say you've never seen this movie before. If this movie was being released in theaters today, what would be the reason that you would go see it? Like, is there something in the trailer? Is there something on the movie poster? Is there something about the ensemble, as the French say, in the cast? Like, if this was coming out today and you had never, or is it because it's a Michael Crichton story? What would draw you to go see this if this was coming out for the first time today?
I like adventure movies. I like, a little bit of sci-fi thrown in. That works for me. So I think if I would see it, I would definitely, on a poster or something, I think I'd definitely come check it out.
Okay.
Just because, like I said, I tend to like these genres.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it has a vague Indiana Jones feel to it, and I can always get down with something like that.
Yeah. I think for me, it would be knowing that it was the same writer as Jurassic Park. Like, that probably would draw me in a bit. I love a good monkey movie. That's what I think this movie missed a bit, was it needed some like throwbacks to, I don't know, King Kong or, some of the other stuff. If she had dropped her line of, put him on the endangered species list, and then at the end of all that, when she's massacred all the gorillas with the laser, if somebody would have been like, "'Twas beauty killed the beast," I'd be like, "Yeah, there you go. There's your mid-Atlantic accent right there, Ernie." Like, drop that line after she's killed all of them with her laser gun. But yeah, I think it being a Michael Crichton story, like, that's what would draw me in. If I had seen Jurassic Park before this, and I was like, "Ooh, another one," but with monkeys instead of lizards.
Right.
Yeah. Is there anything that would cause you to buy this on physical media? Or is it more of a, I'll catch it on streaming, or I don't need to really watch it again? Is there anything that you look at this and you go, this would be worth having in the collection?
I think so. That being said, like, if I could get it somewhere, I don't think I'd like give it away or turn it down. There's so many movies that I want to buy, like,
yeah,
unless this is coming like incredibly inexpensive, then I'll probably focus on what, donating to the area of most need.
Yeah. Pat, given the option, would you buy a copy of this movie or buy your children a Def Leppard album?
Buy the children a Def Leppard album.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And it's nothing against this movie, but
No.
Def Leppard is fantastic. And
yeah,
drawing back the curtain a week before we recorded this, and however many weeks before this came out, I got to see them up at Summerfest.
Yeah.
It was most epic.
And then you said your kids were like playing the music and playing the drums and
they
whatnot
all,
when you got
they
home.
all got into it. They were up and dancing and going crazy, and it was definitely an adult crowd. I saw a couple kids, but it was definitely a rocking crowd.
Nice. That's okay. We had the same experience when I was a teenager, and my parents took our entire family to go see Jimmy Buffett.
Okay. Yeah.
I witnessed and experienced things that I had not seen before.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be amped when, before they come on, they have the video screen. There's a big countdown, and all of a sudden they have all these images on screen, and they start like fading in on the sound system, just clips from their albums.
Yeah.
It's a real cool opening. And as the clips of the tunes would come in, like, the audience started cheering for those. The audience was cheering for the pre-music recording.
Nice.
And so it's like, okay, if they're amped for the recording, I can't imagine what's going to happen when this man walks on stage.
What the actual show is going to be like.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of an unfair comparison.
That's right.
There's a lot of movies that I'd like to have copies of first. I don't think this would be up there, but like, would I ever watch it again? Yeah, sure. What the heck?
Yeah.
I like adventure movies, and this was one, and there were some silly moments, but oh well.
Yeah.
Like I said, I guess I'd love to know why and how this got made.
Yeah. All right. I think it's probably time for 3 questions.
He asks each traveler 5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions. It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
All right, question number 1. What is the worst attempt at a foreign accent in the movie?
That's tough because there's a lot of rough stuff in here.
There is. I have one that I think I've picked, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, I might have another one.
Okay. I'm curious what you got.
Well, so the two that I have in mind, and I'm not sure which one I think is worse. I kind of think I do. They are both attempts at an Irish accent.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm stealing anybody else's here, but I will. I'm going to make a decision right here. I'm going to say my runner-up is going to be Tom and Nicole in Far and Away.
Oh my!
Not great Irish accents.
Tell me you like my hat.
You're not wearing a hat.
Say it. Say you like my hat.
You're not wearing a hat.
Say it.
Okay, this is runner-up. I'm like, dang.
This is runner-up. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go with possibly the worst attempt at a foreign accent, and I'm kind of discounting Kevin Costner from Robin Hood.
Really? You're discounting that one?
Maybe, because I'm not even sure he made an attempt, and I did put the word attempt in the
Well,
question.
that's what I was just going to say, because the whole joke from Men in Tights is, unlike other Robin Hoods, I can speak with an English accent.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Irish accents that were attempted by the McFlys in Back to the Future 3.
Yes.
Really?
How could you forget a thing like your hat? Would you like some water?
I'll tell you what I'll do, Mr. Aiswood. I'll help you find your blacksmith friend. You can stay the night in the barn. And tomorrow, I'll take you as far as the railroad tracks. You can follow him straight on into town. I'll even give you a hat. That's great.
Oh, those are rough. You're right.
They're bad. I mean, the comical.
They really are.
Comical, but not good.
Yeah.
I feel like Lucky the Leprechaun in the Lucky Charms commercial has a better Irish accent than they did.
You are not wrong there.
Mm-hmm.
You're rating that over the movie about the bombs.
Movie about the bombs.
Oh, that was a good one too.
Which
Tommy Lee
that one.
Jones.
Yeah. Blown Away.
Yeah. That was a tough one.
I mean, that's pretty bad too.
Because I mean, Jeff Bridges, like, didn't his accent switch throughout?
Yes.
Wasn't that part of our discussion of that movie? We were like, what was his accent?
Listen to me, Leo McGivney. I've come to bring you a gift.
What gift is that, Garrity?
It's the gift of pain, of course.
You're the reason they died, not me.
Well, maybe I'll just make a general statement and say that there are a lot of Americans and or Australians that should not even try an Irish accent.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that'll just be the blanket statement I make.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of accents, can I take a real smash cut real quick?
Yeah. Are you going to try an accent?
One of our teachers at summer music camp that we got is new to the country. He grew up, born, raised in, well, actually different places around Europe, but largely in London.
Nice.
And then he moved to the States with his wife, or for his wife, and now he's looking for jobs. He's working our camp. Great guy, but he's teaching me to speak British, which is really fun, or English. And so it's fun because, it's like we call the notes quarter notes, and they call them
vitamins and schedules.
Yeah, and they call them like crochets or some. I got to learn it.
Yeah, what do they call quarter notes in the metric system?
Right.
Because I know Big Mac's a Big Mac, but they call it Le Big Mac.
Royale note.
Yeah. Well, so
that note's called a Royale with cheese.
And John, you spent time in London.
I did.
Have you heard of English rhyming slang or Cockney slang or Cockney?
Yeah.
That's fun stuff.
I
love it.
I can't do it, but not easily.
So I asked him about it, and I'm like, so can you tell? And he goes, and he laughs. He goes, yeah, it's almost like a secret language.
Yeah.
And I've tried to tell Tammy about it, and and she's just like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, you got to check it out because like it's this thing, and there's a little bit of it in Ocean's 11 when the one guy, the Don Cheadle character is like, we're gonna have a bit of a Barney, Barney Rubble, we're gonna be in trouble, and Tammy's like, I don't think that exists. So I asked an actual card-carrying English
I don't
person,
think that exists, Pat.
and
You're crazy.
And I'm like, see, here's the thing: is that both things can be true. I am crazy, and it does exist.
Mm-hmm.
So when he was like, yeah, and he was telling me all about it. He goes, it's almost like a secret language. And I asked him, I'm like, can you like freeform? Can you like make up your own rhymes? And he goes, not as much. They're like a set thing. And his example was things that rhyme, and stairs, you'd call them apples. And he says it with an accent. I'm not even going to attempt the accent. Okay.
Apples.
Actually, maybe my answer to the question, worst attempt at the accent, is Pat trying to do the Sean Connery accent at the Hunt for October episode.
There you go.
Some things in here don't react too well to bullets.
Oh my gosh. Remember that? And I said it, and then you guys paused. You guys were just like, Pat, was that a serious attempt? Or okay. No, but he says it in his accent. He's like, so if you're looking for the stairs, you'd say, hey, can you direct me to the apples? And that's how you'd say stairs, because apples and pears, stairs.
My brain cannot handle this. I am too old and set in my ways.
So he told me some websites that I showed Tammy. Tammy's like, what is this? I'm like, I'm not kidding you. It's this whole thing. I think it's absolutely awesome. And there's like this whole list of phrases. But yeah, when you ask for the apples, and that means stairs, because apples and pears is stairs. And then the Barney Rubble.
Sure, I mean,
in trouble,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Gonna have a Barney.
Yes. Okay, you know what? Well, you're finishing up that, and Bo, you're giving your answer. And then I got to give my answer. I'm going to look this up so we can have some for our podcast listening audience.
Well, there's
some examples of
there's a Cockney rhyming slang website.
Oh, do you have it up there?
Well, yeah, there's a few examples, and that's why a lot of these are like, some of these are just, they're so hard to follow and figure out exactly what you'd be talking about. So like one of the examples they give is the slang phrase inky smudge.
Yeah.
And if you said the old inky smudge is giving me 6 months, or the old inky's giving me 6 months, and inky smudge is supposed to be judge.
Oh wow!
Okay,
that's awesome.
All right. I can see where they're going with that. It's weird, but I'm there.
Or kitchen sink could be drink, and so you'd be like, "Let's go to the bar for a kitchen sink." Like, Or have you seen me macaronis? Macaroni cheese means car keys. So yeah, no, I have a bit of a hard time with the Cockney rhyming slang.
Man, I went for a run today, and my scotches hurt. I can't say it with an accent, so I might be saying it wrong. And scotches are legs because.
Oh, I thought it was going to be crotch.
Because what?
I thought it was going to be crotch. I mean, scotch doesn't really rhyme with. Oh, is it like Scotch eggs?
Scotch eggs.
So it rhymes with legs. Oh, okay. All right.
Yep.
I was worried that it was Scotch rhyming with crotch.
I don't know if we're talking about. I don't know if we can talk about crotch and still be family friendly.
I don't know what kind of running you do, but
man, that hurts my loaf. Loaf of bread. Head.
Yeah.
Although loaf, that's hard because that's like our other podcast we listen to. They talk about loaf, so that's kind of
yeah. Well, here's the one I thought you would have liked. That's a heck of a Tom Cruise you got there.
Ah, that's a great one. And Tom, what's that one again?
A bruise.
Oh man.
Yeah, so you got to be careful. If you don't run the right way, you might end up with a Tom Cruise on your scotch.
Some famous person fell on Pat's crop. Like, what? No, I
fell down again.
I fell down again. I want to learn a British accent and just only speak Cockney slang.
Okay.
I'm going to have a day where that's how I talk to the band.
That's what we really need from Duolingo. I mean, that stupid parrot, I haven't learned any Spanish at all listening to that stupid parrot, but if somebody wanted to try to teach me Cockney rhyming slang.
There you go.
Between that and Klingon, that's all you really need.
Exactly.
No. Okay, did everybody give their worst foreign accents? Did you do yours, Bo?
No, I've been thinking this whole time. Anytime, and I'm not really coming up with an example in my head, like an actual example, but I know I've sat here thinking about it.
Yeah.
It seems to be when they cast like the accent that seems to get butchered the most is an Indian accent or from anything from the subcontinent. It just does not play well because it's kind of hard to do without sounding
racist,
like you're making fun of it. Yeah. Thank you. That'll do.
You end up sounding like a poo from The Simpsons.
Yeah, and I'm having a little trouble like coming up with an example, but I know I've sat here and said, why do they even bother?
All right, here's your last question. What was the cause of the Civil War?
Actually, there were numerous causes. Aside from the obvious schism between abolitionists and anti-abolitionists, economic factors, both domestic and international, played a significant...
Yeah. Just say slavery.
Slavery it is, sir.
Yes, I am a citizen. Now which way to the welfare office?
What?
I'm kidding. I work.
Like, there's something to be said for the Sean Connery, I'm not doing a Russian accent.
Right, yeah.
Like, there's something to be said for just do it.
Yeah.
Right? Does the accent, and I feel this way about theater too. Like, sometimes the accent is for some reason so important for people that they spend too much time on it. But the words are what's important, not how they're said all that often. Like,
right.
And that's not to say that that's never the case, because there are times.
But you can focus too much to the detriment of the acting.
Right, and we've talked about a couple times where it's important. We've talked about the Don Cheadle character in The Oceans. Like, there are times when that is a thing.
Right.
But there are also times when you got to just take a step back and go, is this really worth the effort we're putting into it?
Right.
And I'm going to go with sometimes no.
Sometimes no. Sometimes no.
Because a bad one can, like bad acting in general, but a bad accent can take you out of the movie you're in.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
Like, it can take you out of the situation and you're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Like
I'm struggling to come up with a concrete example, but I think you see where I'm coming from.
I smell what you're cooking.
Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Sometimes. And number 2, if you could take one character.
I'm going to throw in my bad accent, though.
Oh, yeah.
Star Trek 6.
Okay.
Uhura trying to speak Klingon to fool their way past the listening post.
Yes.
Because they'll find the universal translator. And they have the dictionaries out, and she's like trying to read the original Klingon. And it does not go well, but it gets them past the listening.
Yeah.
Gets them past the listening.
Can't help but wonder, like, the whole about the universal translator will be recognized, but that is not a problem, is just comical.
Yes, they did throw it in there for shtick, but I thought it was done well. I thought that was a good.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So here's another one. Here's the runner-up. Going way in track now, but do you remember the Deep Space Nine episode where they all had to pretend to be Klingons to infiltrate Gowron's ceremony?
Yeah.
And Worf was coaching him up on how to do it. And he's like, not bad, but did you mean to challenge me to a fight? No. Why did I do that? Well, you struck me with the back of your fist. If you want to challenge me to a fight, that's how you do it. If you want to greet me, you got to punch me with the closed fist. And then the one guy was talking, he's like, why aren't you making eye contact? You're insulting me. And so I guess that would be the runners-up.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone that's not like a huge Star Trek fan is like, where is Pat going with these answers? So
when did this become a Star Trek podcast?
Anybody who's not a huge Star Trek fan is not listening.
There it is. There it is right there.
Number 2, if you could only take one character from Congo on a real-life jungle expedition, which one would it be and why?
Well, it's the lady with the laser gun, right? I mean, no, it's. I'm gonna blank on his name already, but it's Winston.
Yeah, that was my answer to it. Captain Kelly.
Because he's seen some stuff.
He's seen some stuff. He's been around.
He can roll with the punches.
Right.
Yeah,
he knows what's going on. I feel like that may be one of the only people you're going to survive with. I mean, if you're going with, Hikmir Himolka, then you're dying pretty quickly.
Oh, my. Yeah.
But in the Latin alphabet, Hikma begins with a...
Yes.
So...
Indeed.
In Latin, Hikmir begins with a letter.
We're gonna daily triplet there with the Winston Zeddemore character,
Nice.
the Ernie Hudson character. I'm just gonna say though, the shtick, and again, it was a shtick, but where like people are trying to get to a place, but they run into someone that's like totally like almost like an Indiana Jones character that speaks all the languages and knows all the customs and like guides them, but
You'll
not
blend
in the
in.
You'll blend it, right?
Yeah.
But actually do it, right? I love that shtick. It works on me like that when they show up and, well, we're supposed to meet. Nope, you're not meeting this guy. Trust me. I'll help you. Okay, well, wait. Nope, you want to go over here. And then something blows up. Okay, we got to run fast now. Jump on this truck. Don't say anything. Kind of the come with me if you want to live. I love that. It works on me every time. And so that whole scene at the airport when they're just like, well, no, we have it all. Yep, that doesn't matter anymore. There's just been a coup. You got to trust me. We're going this way. I love that. And then when he and I forget the guy's name, but he was in The Matrix and he was in Bad Boys, and
Yeah.
he had a bit part in this. I think it was uncredited.
Yeah, Pantaleano.
Joe. Yeah, when basically they're talking back and forth. Okay, we're going to meet at that's right. You're going to get the DC-10. Great. We're going to have this. And they're like, wait, what's going on? Wait, where are we going? Like what? Nope, just sit down and be quiet. I've got everything. I've seen that before. It's like a trope in these movies.
Yeah.
I love it. I fall for it every time when it's like you show up a place and there's some guy that knows much more. He you're playing checkers and they're playing chess. And I love that. I love that. So yeah, that's just what I want to throw in for the daily triple vote for Ernie Hudson's character.
Brody will blend in and disappear. With any luck, he's got the monkey laser already.
Yes, the monkey laser.
All right. If you could train any animal or pet to talk with a digital voice like Chasing Amy, which one would you pick?
Well, I'm partial to wanting to know what the heck my cat's thinking all the time. So
That was kind of mine too. Yeah.
I kind of got to go with that just because.
Yeah, I'd agree with Bo.
Especially
I just
right
my own
now.
pet.
Well, Toby is fast asleep right now, although I think his ears perked up when I said his name. But I would be curious, especially this week, because he has not decided to sleep through the night this week. So what I'd like to know is when he's standing in the doorway of our room just staring at us while we're sleeping, I would like to know when I say, when we say, Toby, go to bed, I would like to know why he decides to stick around for an additional 5 minutes and just stand there and stare at us.
Yeah, what would be really creepy is when the robotic voice comes out and says, I see dead people.
Yeah. I've read the hieroglyphs and they say, I will be watching you.
So I would love to know what my pets are thinking, the two cats. I would also love to know what the horses in the barn are thinking.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Because there's
a
times...
little Mr. Ed moment there.
Yeah, but there's times you're riding them and it's just like, I think I know exactly what you're thinking. You know what I'm saying? And there's a couple times that we get going and we're going through a barrel pattern or something and you get one of the speed horses and it's sort of like, okay, I kind of want to go a little bit like this speed, and then the horse takes off because it knows what it's doing, and it kind of gives you, it'll kind of look back and be like, hey dude, watch this and hold on tight. And it's just, okay, good. I just would love to know what one of them are thinking. I just think that would be awesome.
They're thinking this guy don't know nothing.
Yeah.
I tell you this. Now listen, Patrick, come in the room. An incredible coincidence.
That's right. It means hold on to yourself, Dorothy, because Neverland is going bye-bye.
Yeah, there you go. You get that one horse that's like, hold on to your butts.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one you got to worry about is the one that says, that's extraordinary.
Oddly enough, his robotic voice also sounds like he's like a lifelong smoker. He's like, that's extraordinary. What would you like to do next? Like, that horse has seen some stuff.
Yes, he has.
That horse's name is Winston. And oddly enough, he speaks with a British accent. I don't know why. All right. That's going to do it for 3 questions, and that's going to do it for Congo. That's also going to do it for Monkey Business Month. So as we wrap up Monkey Business Month, as we mentioned earlier, July, we take a slightly darker turn, and we decide to enact our vengeance on you, the listener, as we cover some pretty vengeful movies. We start off with 7 next week, and then we have The Usual Suspects, then The Quick and the Dead, then we've got a 10th anniversary rewatch, Lethal Weapon 3 from 1992. Will be in the middle of the month there. And then we've got Desperado, and then we got Die Hard with a Vengeance. If you are joining us over on the Patreons, we will have at some point, as soon as at least a couple of us have seen it, we'll be doing the new Superman movie as our Patreon episode. And then Patreon short, I will definitely at some point be seeing the Fantastic Four First Steps movie, so I will do a little Patreon short on that one as well. So that's what we got going on. So if Vengeance is a little heavy for you, then you can join us over there on Patreon, and we've got some superhero movies coming your way. So good stuff all around. So thank you, Bo. Thank you, Pat, for being here.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
And as we have been doing for the last few weeks, I did put my songwriting skills to the test, came up with some lyrics, and I did have AI create for me a little parody song that we could play related to the movie Congo, maybe roughly in the style of a Jimmy Buffett, The Monkees from the 1960s type song. I don't know.
All right.
We'll see.
Are we going to hear it now?
We're going to hear it now. So everybody be excellent to each other. Go watch some good movies, and we'll see you back here next time.
To Congo, thought it'd be a breeze. Diamonds in a lost city, easy cash and a jungle tease. But then a scream through the satellite feed for Bruce Campbell, a quick cameo. Killed by the vicious pale ape, oh no. Amy's a talking gorilla in the mist. Joe Don Baker's really pissed. Tim Curry sounds like he's from Moscow. Winston Zeddemore is British now. There are hidden dangers they've all missed. I can't say, I can't say, I can't say where I'm gonna stay. When the Greeks lay from plane crash landed, down tech guns to diamond fuel vapor beams hotter than the sun. Jimmy Buffett through the jet, Peter's eyes are getting wet. And he met a hunky silver back into the jungle they will run. Bubbling. I smell cup, but no, let's go before we all get big. I can't say, I can't say, I can't stay where I'm gonna stay. When the grapes lay, the ground quakes, the lava flows.